I've been teaching piano for over 40 years, and somewhere along the way, I noticed something that had nothing to do with music. My adult students, especially the ones who started after 60, were changing, not just as pianists, they were changing as people. I didn't have a word for what I was watching. The scientists do now. Welcome to Living Pianos. Robert Estrin here, and today I want to talk about something that I think is one of the most underappreciated stories in both music and medicine, what learning piano actually does to the human brain, specifically after 60. Because if you knew what I know from the research and from 4 decades of watching this happen in real people, you look at the piano very differently, not as a musical instrument, as a tool. Now, here's what most people think about brain health after 60. Keep the crossword puzzles going, try Sudoku, download one of those brain training apps, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But here's the thing. When neuroscientists want to find the single most complex, simultaneous brain activity a human brain can engage in, the activity that lights up more regions of the brain at the same time than almost any other task, do you know what they keep coming back to? Playing piano. Think about what's actually happening. When you play, you're reading music, processing visual symbols, and instantly translating it into physical movement. Both hands are doing completely different things at the same time. You're listening to what you're producing and adjusting in real time. You're engaging emotional memory. The piece connects to feelings and experiences you've lived. You're doing all this simultaneously. There is no app that comes close to that. Now, let me tell you what the research actually says, because it's remarkable. Studies from the Brain and Creativity Institute at USC found that musical training strengthens the connections between brain regions responsible for processing sound, movement, and emotional response. And a landmark study published in Neuropsychology followed adults who took piano lessons for just 6 months. 6 months, and found measurable improvements in memory, attention, and processing speed compared to a control group. And perhaps most significantly, research on musicians and dementia risks shows consistently that musical engagement is one of the strongest protective factors against cognitive decline we've ever identified. We're not talking about slowing it down slightly. We're talking about a measurable, documented reduction in risk. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't know any of this when I started teaching. I just noticed what was happening to my students. I want to tell you about 2 people, because both of them changed how we understand what I've actually been doing all these years. The first is a man I'll call David. He came to me at 68, recently retired from a career in engineering, meticulous, analytical, slightly skeptical. He told me up front, I just want to see if I can still learn anything new. That was his stated goal. Now, not music, proof of concept. Within 3 months, something unexpected happened. His wife called me, not to report on his playing, but to tell me that David was different. He was more present. He was patient. She said he had started sitting with her in the evenings instead of retreating to his office. She didn't know how to explain it. I did. His brain had been handed a challenge that required full, undivided engagement. And it responded. That level of cognitive demand activates something that routine retirement life often doesn't provide. David came back to me 2 years later to buy a piano. He said, I didn't expect to care this much. The second person I want to tell you about now, I'll call Margaret. She was 71. When she came to me, and her reason for starting was different. Her doctor had expressed early concerns about her memory and suggested she find something cognitively demanding. Her daughter brought her to me. She was hesitant, almost apologetic. She kept saying, I've never been musical. I hear that phrase constantly, by the way, and I want to address it directly. Musical ability is not a fixed trait you either have or don't. It's a skill. It develops. And what Margaret discovered in 6 months was not that she'd been wrong about having no talent. It was that talent had nothing to do with it. What she had was attention, patience, and the willingness to come back to something difficult every single day. 6 months in, she called her daughter into the living room and played a piece all the way through from memory. Her daughter told me later she was a different person, not just at the piano. She was sharper, more confident. She started going back to the things she put away, her garden, her reading group, things she quietly stopped doing. The piano hadn't just given her a skill, it had reactivated her life. Now, I want to put something on the table that might surprise you. Coming from a piano seller, I'm not telling you this to sell you a piano. I'm telling you this because there is a profound gap between what the medical and scientific community now knows about music and the brain and what most people over 60 are actually doing about it. If there were a supplement, a pill that showed the same cognitive benefits as piano playing, improved memory, better processing speed, reduced dementia risk, greater emotional well-being, it would be on every doctor's prescription pad. The piano is that supplement, and we've categorized it as a luxury, a hobby, a thing for the talented few, rather than what the evidence actually says it is. By the way, if this is resonating with you, if you've been thinking about learning piano, coming back to it, or you know something or someone over 60 who should hear this, please subscribe and share this channel. This is livingpianos.com, and we cover exactly this kind of territory. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this today. The piano isn't just a musical instrument. I would argue it is the most powerful cognitive training tool available to human beings, one that is genuinely accessible to anyone at any age, at any level of experience. You don't have to practice for hours. You don't have to aim for Carnegie Hall. You just have to sit down and engage and enjoy it. 20 minutes a day of genuine, focused engagement with this instrument is doing something to your brain that nothing else fully replicates. And here's what David and Margaret and dozens of students like them taught me. The benefits don't wait until you're good. They begin the moment you begin. The research confirms this. Cognitive work is happening in the struggle, in the reaching, in the moment when something that was difficult yesterday becomes possible today. You don't have to arrive anywhere. You just have to keep showing up. The question I want all of you to sit with is this. Of all the things you could do for your long-term cognitive health, your emotional well-being, your presence in your own life, is there anything more powerful, more enjoyable, and more immediately available than this? I'm Robert Estrin. I would genuinely love to know what you're playing piano and how it's going for you. Are you doing this now? Or are you thinking about starting? Leave it in the comments here at livingpianos.com or on YouTube. This is a conversation I want to have with you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.